Hi guys, welcome back to my channel, Dana of All Trades. Today I'm going to give you an update on how Julian is doing at boot camp, but before we get into it, make sure you subscribe to my channel. I feel like I've been at almost 500 subscribers since forever, so please help me cross this milestone. If you all have been following my story, then you know my son Julian left for boot camp forever ago. He had to do 2 weeks of quarantine and he's been in boot camp itself for 9 weeks. So it's been a total of 11 weeks without him and it feels like a lifetime since I made that first video. So much has changed and I've learned so much. One thing I've learned is that they don't call it boot camp in the Marines, they call it recruit training. So I'm just gonna update you on everything that's been going on. One thing I wanna mention though is that if you know me, you know that I am super transparent about my life. I will talk about all my hardships. I'll talk about growing up in, trailer parks, and I'll talk about being sexually assaulted by my uncle as a teenager. I will share so much of myself. I feel like being open and transparent helps me connect with other people that have gone through similar situations. But with that being said, I feel like so much of this story and this update isn't my story to share. So I'm going to share as much as I can without feeling like I'm crossing a privacy line with Julian. So most of it is going to be my perspective, my feelings, my thoughts. So like I said, Julian is in week 9 of recruit training. Since he's been in the actual recruit training, I have only received 2 letters from him. It has been so hard. And the first letter didn't come for forever. It was, I think, 5 or 6 weeks I had to wait for the first letter. And it was driving me crazy because I just wanted to know so badly how he's doing. Is he okay? Is he liking it? Is he miserable? I know it's hard, but how hard? What's his mental health status? Like, I was losing my mind. I was checking the mail every day. I was heartbroken walking home from the mail every day. I was crying all the time and I just needed answers. I finally did get a letter. It was like over 10 pages and it wasn't the best. He wasn't in a good headspace, so he was struggling a lot. It was still really early on. What affected me randomly the most was the fact that he would write like 2 sentences and then just stop abruptly. One day he literally wrote the date and then 3 letters. And that was it. And I don't know, there was a lot in there that he was saying that was, hard. But that to me just felt like I could see the struggle. Like he was struggling to communicate and to check in and he couldn't even do that. And then too, I also felt like, I don't know why I cry every time in this video. I also felt guilty that he was there having, a really hard time and then still thinking about me or still feeling obligated to check in with me. In many ways, that makes me really proud as a parent. I just can't talk about him because I miss him so much. So even the good stuff is just... It was a reminder of how caring he is. And I love that about him. And I feel like when you're in the military, they try and strip away those empathetic feelings. Obviously, I don't know, I'm making assumptions, but I feel like they have to, in a way, strip those feelings away and make you less human and make you more of a machine. And it was reassuring to see that those parts of him aren't gonna change. The very first line in the first letter that I received from him, which he wrote maybe 3 weeks into recruit training, was, "This recruit is miserable, but he's keeping his head intact." And that was the theme throughout the whole letter. It would be this shit is really hard, but I'm okay. I really miss sitting, but it's gonna be fine. Obviously, he's trying to reassure me, but I also feel like they were affirmations for himself, where he was just I need to write it, I need to say it, I can do hard things. I could feel the struggle within him. And that letter just, I waited for it for so long. And all my fears were realized. Like, I knew he would be struggling. I knew it would be hard. I knew he would be homesick. I knew it's just, meant to break you. And it's hard to watch your son be broken, even if it's for good reason. And even if he's going to be a better man because of it, it's so painful to watch it. And all the things that I was fearing that he was going through, he was. And so it was nice to hear from him, but the letter didn't make it any easier. So the second letter I received, he wrote literally only 2 weeks later, but it was already such a completely different tone, where he was saying like, yes, things are still hard and I don't have time to do anything, and like the physical activity is really pushing me. He was much more optimistic. He was like motivated and could see the light at the end of the tunnel. He had reflected on like all of his relationships in real life. He wrote about the camaraderie among all the other recruits, which is like the whole reason I feel like he joined, was to get this like brotherhood. And he spoke of that, and he said like he would die for these men in there. And it was just like, I can see the transformation happening like before my eyes, and it makes me really proud. But more importantly, I just hope that he's proud of himself. And I think he is. I think for a long time he was really insecure and felt like he didn't know like his value. And I feel like now he really does. And so that makes me very happy for him. It makes me really proud. It makes me just know without a doubt that this is where he was meant to be, what he was supposed to be doing. In exactly 1 week, he will complete the Crucible, which is a grueling, like 54-hour trek. They don't get much food. They don't get much sleep. They gotta go on like this terrible terrain, and like it is like the finale of recruit training. And you walk in as a recruit, and if you complete it, you walk out as a Marine. And he spoke of this, like he's ready, he's up for the challenge, he's excited. And I feel like when he gets that Eagle Globe and Anchor on that day, April 15th, he is just going to be so incredibly proud of himself. Like, it's a bigger deal than like graduating high school. It's the biggest milestone he may ever have in life, completing the hardest thing that he's ever done. He's had a pretty easy life, so it's a big deal. And I'm so excited that I believe he can do it, and that it's just right around the corner. And so after they complete the Crucible, he still has 2 weeks of recruit training, but he'll be doing it as a Marine, and it won't be as like grueling and painful and soul crushing. So then he graduates on April 30th, and then usually they get a 10-day leave. Because of COVID, he will not. When they leave base after they graduate, they'll get in a bus and they'll drive up to Oceanside. And so he'll be in Oceanside for Marine combat training, and he'll be there for like another month. And during that time, like, he'll write, I don't know, he gets a couple phone calls here and there. He can't really see people. I don't know. It's all like, they have standards, then it's like, then they have stricter standards because of COVID. So it's like super, super unknown. And then even after that, what job will he have? We're not 100% sure yet. Where is he going to be stationed? We don't know. And it's just like, that part of it is such mindfuckery because I'm such a planner. That's the update, the logistics. Emotionally, it's been on and off. I feel like I was more a wreck when I wasn't hearing from him. Also, it helped that I went to Chicago. I spent a lot of time with my family there, and then I had family come back with me for like a week. So those 3 weeks have been nice because it's been a huge distraction. At the same time, there were definitely moments where it was like, hard. Like it would be like, oh, you know, we're all here as a family, like Julian should be here, Julian is missing. Or where it's like everybody has their kids and I don't get to have my kid. Like things like that would just like put me in a mood. I was also misinformed at one point. I thought that they had opened it back up and let the Marines go home for the 10 days now that like COVID restrictions are lifting a little bit. I thought that that was what was happening, and I got my hopes up imagining him like coming home and coming back here and like living, you know, back in his room again, even if it was only for 10 days, and to like my house, our house, his home being like the first place of comfort that he gets after training. And then like come to find out, no, that was all a lie. And then I feel like letting myself get my hopes up made it worse. And then like after that, then I just kept having dreams about him, and the dreams were that he was here and he was home, and you know, we were just like doing all the mundane things, spending time together and watching movies together and going on a walk together. Dumb everyday shit that I miss so deeply. And then I would have those dreams, and then I would wake up and I would be like super funky all day, just like in a mood. I don't know that that's gonna go away for a long time, because I don't know that he's ever coming back home to live with me. Like he's got lots of trainings to do, and then after that I feel like he's gonna want to live on his own. And so I just think it's just gonna be like a transition that right now hurts and sucks, but after a while I'll just get used to it. That's what you missed. That's what's going on. As always, thank you to everybody that's been so supportive and so helpful, and all the distractions and listening to me when I want to just be sad about him, or listening to me when I want to be excited about him, and you know, just following along on the journey. It's been so comforting to not feel alone in this. And thank you to everybody that has written Julian. He had mentioned in his letter that it has brought him a lot of comfort, and in times that he felt like, you know, he couldn't continue or he wanted to quit, he would look to those letters for support, and it just means a lot to him, and that means a lot to me.